Are Israel and Hezbollah on the verge of a full-blown war? Well, as the war rages on in Gaza, another battle has flared in parallel along Israel's northern border with Lebanon. In what looks like a dangerous game of tit-for-tat that has intensified in the recent weeks, a full-scale war could perhaps devastate both Israel and Lebanon, where the Hezbollah militia is far better trained and equipped adversary than Hamas. Now, the recent escalations and rhetoric could perhaps plunge Lebanon into war. A threat from Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah to strike Cyprus has ratcheted up tensions even further in the eastern Mediterranean as the Lebanese Shia group's conflict with Israel continues to threaten to turn into an all-out war. In a televised speech, the head of Lebanon's Hezbollah terror group said that nowhere in Israel could be safe if a full-fledged war breaks out between the two foes, while also threatening Cyprus and other parts of the Mediterranean. Nasrallah commented on the escalating conflict within the Jewish state and said that the Shiite terror group does not want, quote-unquote, a total war, but is only acting in support of Hamas. The militant group's leader warned that there could be a war without rules or ceilings in the event of a full-scale Israeli offensive against the militia. Amid the simmering tensions in the Middle East, Cyprus and Israel have a bilateral defense cooperation agreement which has seen both the countries performing joint military exercises in the region. Nasrallah, in fact, said, and I quote, opening Cypriot airports and bases to the Israeli army to target Lebanon would mean that the Cypriot government is part of the war and that the resistance will deal with it as part of the war. Now, this is the first time that the Hezbollah leader has threatened Cyprus. What really makes matters complicated is the fact that Cyprus is a member of the European Union, and any conflict with the island nation could drag the regional body into a war. Although the United Kingdom has two bases in Cyprus, there has been no officially acknowledged Israeli use of Cypriot land or air bases. Israel has used Cypriot airspace to conduct drills in the past. Tension between Hezbollah and Israel has been rising ever since the 7th of October Hamas attacks and the ensuing military campaign by the Israeli Defense Forces in Gaza. In recent weeks, the intensity of the cross-border attacks between the two has also increased, raising concerns over the prospect of a full-blown war. Nasrallah's remarks come a day after Israeli generals said that they are planning to launch a wider offensive against the Lebanese militant group. The prospects took a turn for the worse when Hezbollah flaunted a 9-minute video filmed by a drone that showed a civilian and military location in and around one of Israel's largest cities, Haifa. In a statement, the militia chief boasted about his group's ability to gather intelligence. In fact, in a speech, he said, and I quote, "The enemy knows that no place in the entire state is safe from our missiles, and it won't be arbitrary. Everything will be deliberately targeted." The video prompted Israeli Foreign Minister Israel Katz to warn of an all-out war in which Hezbollah will be destroyed and Lebanon severely beaten. Now, what would a war between Israel and Hezbollah look like? While Israel's war with Hamas in Gaza has drawn much of the world's attention over the last few months, fighting on a second front at the country's northern border with Lebanon is perhaps escalating. The Lebanese militant group Hezbollah launched its most significant rocket assault yet at Israel just last week in retaliation for an Israeli airstrike that killed a senior Hezbollah commander, fueling concern that a conflict could rapidly spiral out. Fighting at the northern border has simmered for quite some time now as the Iranian-backed Hezbollah has launched thousands of rockets, anti-tank missiles and drones into Israel, while the Israeli Air Force has responded with thousands of strikes as well. Some 140,000 people have been displaced from their homes on both sides of the border. Israel has assassinated a number of Hezbollah commanders, including most recently Taleb Abdullah, who is a senior commander and was killed just last week. Hezbollah responded to the attack by firing more than 200 rockets, the most that it has fired in a single day towards Israel since October. But despite the increasing tensions and the ongoing rhetoric from both sides, there is strong belief among observers that both sides are still largely sticking to the rules of engagement, with escalations occurring only gradually. There is a widely held view that neither Israel nor Hezbollah want to trigger a war, at least for now. Diplomatic efforts are also continuing to de-escalate tension. United States envoy Amos Hoxton, who previously helped mediate a maritime deal between Lebanon and Israel, was recently in Beirut to try and ease tensions at the border, which could still draw in other regional actors. The war in Gaza is another reason why Israel's government just might be nervous of opening up a second front, much tougher war with Hezbollah at the same time. Although an all-out conflict between Hezbollah and Israel doesn't really seem likely for now, many Lebanese are still growing increasingly worried about its prospects.